Today I'm going to show you guys some simple ways to verify that the silver eagle that you have is actually a legitimate silver eagle and is the 99.999% silver that it's supposed to be. We're going to use 5 different methods that you can do relatively easily with just a few tools, namely a string, caliper, or some sort of measuring device, scale, and something to contain water with. So let me give you guys a little close-up on this, and we're going to talk about the specifications of a silver eagle. So here are the tests we're going to use: weight, specific gravity, dimensions, how it responds to a magnet. I'll show you guys that in a minute, and the ping test. The specifications of a silver eagle, it's got 99.999% silver and 0.001% copper. The weight is 1 troy ounce, not an ounce but a troy ounce, and it's which is 31.103 grams. The diameter of a silver eagle is 40.6 millimeters or 1.598 inches. And then the thickness of it is 2.98 millimeters or 0.1193 inches. Okay? Let's first start off with the weight. There's quite a few scales that I've seen around, but one of my favorites is this guy right here because it's fairly accurate. It's the AWS BT2-201 scale. The nice part about this one is that it can calibrate to a 100 gram weight. So I got this pre-measured 100 gram weight here. So I can press and hold to calibrate this. It says calibrating, and then it's going to flash 100 grams. So I put my 100 gram weight on there. And it's going to use that to check for any errors in itself and make sure that it actually measures it a little bit more accurately than it normally would. So we can take one of these silver eagles I have here. This is a, let's see, 2014 silver eagle. You can put it on the scale, and it says 31.18 grams. Okay, 31.18 grams, which is quite close to the weight that the specifications define. Let's give the other 2 silver eagles here a test. 31.17, 31.20. Okay, pretty close. I've got a second scale here that we can use to judge it as well. So I gotta reset this guy here. This one shows it as 31.2 grams, which the other one said about that much as well. 31.1, and that's 31.17, 31.2. All right, 31.18 for that one. So that's pretty close to what the specifications define. So that alone isn't much of a test. You can get something that weighs 1 ounce and make it look like silver. I mean, it's difficult to get it to look exactly like silver, but you can get it close enough. So then you need to combine it with a few other tests. Namely, the specific gravity is probably one of my favorites for the exactness of it. So what you can do is you take the dry weight of the silver eagle, which this one was 31.18 grams, and then you can suspend it in water on a string, and that will allow you to get the, I believe it's called the wet weight, or I'm going to call it the wet weight of the silver eagle. So let me string this up and I'll show you guys. Now you need to take some form of water container that the coin can fit in completely without touching any of the sides. So I've got the weight on here is adjusted to the weight of the water. So I'm going to go ahead and re-tare this. The reason I'm not using my more exact scale is because it can't handle the weight of this water. Sorry, it can be a bit finicky to get these coins to suspend, but you really don't have to do it for long. Just make sure you get it nice and tight. All right, there we go. That'll probably work long enough for the test. So we can suspend this in the water. Make sure it's not touching anything. And we get 3.0. So that's 3 grams. That's what it says that additional weight is when you suspend it there. So I wasn't touching the bottom, wasn't touching the sides, and it was completely submerged in the water. So we can do a bit of math here and say that it was 3 grams exactly. And then we can use our calculator to divide the dry weight by the weight that it was suspended in the water. So 31.18 grams divided by 3 grams when it was suspended. And we get 10.39. So this is not in grams or anything because we did some math on this. So this is just 10.39, which is the specific gravity of this particular coin. Okay, so now the specific gravity of silver is 10.46. Okay, so this is 10.39, which is very, very close. If you can compare this, if you compare the specific gravity of many other items, I printed off a huge list here, which is pretty nice. It really shows that not much comes close to the 10 specific gravity that silver does. So here, let me show you silver. Silver is 10.46, and everything else is quite the different specific gravity. I'm going to look here for a second. We'll see if we can find some that even get close to this. We've got nickel, which is 8.67, and 8.45, which is pretty close, but this is far, the 10 is far from anything close to that. You can see gold is 19.29, so that's much heavier. I do know that some people can fake the gold by putting tungsten in the middle because tungsten is quite close to gold. Let me show you that on this guy right here. Tungsten, its specific gravity is 19.62, which is really close to gold. So you can go, it's pretty simple to trick people, I think, if you've got the proper equipment to encase the tungsten in gold, since tungsten is far less valuable than gold. So those, with those two tests combined, I think that you can get a pretty good guess whether or not it's silver, especially the specific gravity. The next is the dimensions of it. So let's go ahead and take out our calipers here, and we'll give this a measurement, and we'll see if it matches the diameter and thickness that it's supposed to be. So the diameter of it is supposed to be 1.598. So if you look at this, it's past the 1 inch mark over here, and the dial came around to just under 60. Okay, so this 60 here is 6/10 of an inch. So this is 598 tenths of an inch, right? So that's just about there. So that is perfect for the size that the silver eagle is supposed to be. Now we can take the thickness of it. So this is supposed to be if you take, it looks like you need to do the actually the outside diameter. So this has a little bit of a ridge right here. So I'm scraping up my silver a little bit with this measurement, but that's really not a big deal. It's not like I'm losing any of the silver content. It gets to just a little bit over 1/10 of an inch, okay? So the specifications say 11.9 tenths. Okay, so this does match the dimensions that the silver eagle is supposed to be. If you're measuring this, trying to use this method to gauge some other silver coin, you need to figure out the dimensions of it, look it up, or take one of your existing ones and compare the size to it. You know, if it's smaller or thicker or something like that, you know something's up. Because you could fool the weight and dimensions of, you could fool the weight but not the dimensions with the specific gravity of silver. So you could get a coin that's the wrong size, but feels the right weight, okay? So another cool thing about silver is the way that it responds to magnets. So I recommend getting a neodymium magnet like this. This is a really, really strong magnet. I keep this with my silver so that I can compare other silver to it. And the nice part about it is you can just put the silver in your hand, and then when you move this move the magnet next to it, you can feel it moving in your hand. Sorry, I kept tapping it there. It doesn't really show up on camera, but I can feel the pressure of the silver coin moving in my hand just slightly. So let me show you a little bit better on this. I'll get a close-up for you guys. Okay, so silver responds in a few specific ways to a magnet. The first is that it's not ferromagnetic, which means that it does not respond to the magnet. So I can't stick this to the silver and lift it up like you would be able to with steel, such as my calipers here. These can be lifted by the magnet, but the silver does not. But when you move a magnetic field through the silver, it creates an electric force, which is also a magnetic force, and it responds to the silver. So if I move this back and forth, I'm not touching it, but this is actually moving. So you can just do this on your hand, and you can feel the silver move. And that lets you know that this is actually silver. Had it been steel or something like that, it would lift right up. So you can see that if I get it going, I can actually get it to swing quite a bit. That is how silver responds to a magnet. The last method I wanted to show you is called the ping test. So if you take silver and you suspend it on your finger, you can tap it with something hard, like even your finger would work, but I recommend doing this with another piece of silver, and it rings for quite a while after. I'm not sure how well that's showing up on camera. Let me get you guys a close-up of this sound. It continues to ring seconds after. That's a pretty distinct, a pretty unique aspect of silver. Okay. One last thing I wanted to show you guys real quick was the electricity that is generated by the magnetic field of this. So let me show you guys. This is just kind of a little bonus thing that I was playing around with and I noticed. I wouldn't recommend using this as a test of any sort. I'm not sure exactly the specifications of why this is behaving the way it is. But we can connect. Sorry, let me just lean this on here or something so it's not moving so much. The cable here is pulling this silver coin around. Okay, so I can connect up these two leads to my multimeter here, and it will show a couple of milliamp, probably about 4 or 5 milliamp when I move this magnet across it. So you can see that right now I move the magnet here, so it got a little bit of power, but there is no milliamps flowing through this. So this is on the milliamp or the lowest, smallest setting. I'm sorry, this is the micro, not the milli. This is the milli. This is the micro amp. So I can move this magnet across here, and it generates a little bit of electricity. Of course, this is not useful for anything other than showing that this magnet is inducing an electric field, an electric current through the silver coin. So that's just a little bit further proof. And you can kind of see this swaying here. Let me see if I can do it kind of underneath it for you guys. Yeah, you can kind of see that swaying here. It doesn't, it's kind of difficult to get it to generate the electricity from the bottom here. If I get it more in the middle, it's, these have steel in them, iron in them, so they cannot conduct or connect with the magnet. So you can kind of see, you know, only a couple of milliamps that this generates. But that's just a little cool thing that I was playing around with, because I know that magnets and electricity are the same thing pretty much. So this is just kind of a little example of that. So I think with these 5 methods that you can do with a magnet, some sort of measuring device like a caliper, a scale, and something to contain water, you can really detect fake silver. So if I was going to choose just 2 of these, or if I would like to lighten this up a bit, like something for a bug out bag, I would say bring a silver coin silver eagle, so that you can compare its dimensions to another silver eagle. As you can see, oh, you know, these fit very well together, right? And then the magnet, because the magnet has useful additional aspects in survival, namely making a compass. So you could use this to make a compass, but you can also use it to put it in the silver in the palm of your hand, and you can feel, and I can feel this right now, I can feel it moving just a little bit. I'll see if I can get it to move for a little bit for you guys. It's hard to get it to move. It doesn't really show up on camera. But I can feel this, and I can tell that this is silver by the way it behaves. Copper also shows this, but again, the dimensions for copper would be wrong because its specific gravity is so much different than silver is. Let me pull up the specific gravity of copper for you guys. The specific gravity of copper is 8.69, 8.91. That's very different from the 10.46 that silver is supposed to be. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I think this is very simple to do to verify that you're actually getting the silver coin that you think you're getting. If you have some other 1 ounce, 1 troy ounce silver coin, you could do the weight, the specific gravity, the magnet response, and the ping test. You don't have to get the dimensions per se, because you'd have to know the specific dimensions that the coin is supposed to be. So if you get some silver coin from a person and you're not 100% certain that it's silver, then you can measure its weight, you know, make sure that it weighs how much it says it's supposed to weigh, because, you know, this says 1 ounce fine silver. You can check the specific gravity using a scale and a water container, and then you can check the magnet response with a magnet and do a ping test on it. And I think with those, I think it would be pretty much impossible to trick you into believing that something is silver when it's not. Alright guys, well I hope you like this. This is something that I've found extremely interesting, especially the specific gravity. I find that fascinating that the scale shows a weight gain on something suspended in it. I think that's just the coolest thing. But I hope you guys like this. Please remember to like and subscribe, and if you guys have any questions on this, or if I missed some sort of explanation, I can hopefully answer that for you guys in the comments. But thanks for watching.